All right, welcome back. We're going to start just a couple minutes early. I see that we have the timer up, so let me go ahead and make that go away real quick. All right, there we go. The reason why is we're already getting the lobby set up, so we should be getting into our League of Legends match against Ohio Northern very soon. So while that is going, we will go ahead and get you the starting lineup for our League of Legends team. So in the top lane, we do have MC Cressman, Scott Cressman. In the jungler, we have MC Knox, Lucas Stanford. In the mid lane, we have MC Larson, Brandon Larson. AD carry will be MC Brimstone, Ian Darling. And at support, MC Cowboy, David Stratton.
Very good. And we are getting ready here for our champion selection here. We should be into that here very soon. Is there anything you're expecting out of the match today against Ohio Northern?
I have no idea. That is one of the things with having our assistant coach kind of work with the team. So I've been getting them the information, so they've been working with it. So they've actually upped their practice schedules.
Okay.
So now they're practicing like about 4 days a week, and then plus today for matches. So they've been scrimming a lot more. So they've been trying out some different types of compositions and just kind of planning on what they would expect a High Northern to do. So we'll see what goes on there. And because we have our assistant coach helping out with that, I've been having to work on all the other teams.
Gotcha. So you're working on the other games, the other teams, and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So the assistant coaches have been a huge help for us. So that way I can try to work with like our Rocket League and Rainbow Six, especially our Rainbow Six team, since they're be competing in different things. So I'm not saying like I'm ignoring the other teams, but
there's just been more distance there than there was before.
And give them some freedom to run the teams that they think would be beneficial.
Gotcha. Very well. So maybe we'll see a few more different comps, something like that. As of right now, I do believe Marietta is 2-2.
Yes, that
so
is
far
correct.
In the Great Lakes, the Eastern Great Lakes League. So we've seen some back and forth. Last week we saw them against which college was it last week?
It was Mount Vernon Nazarene University.
And we saw them come away with a win in that one. The week before that it was against Muskingum, where they lost in a 1-2. So it's not that they've been, even the matches they've lost have been close matches.
Yes,
so,
like even the week before when they lost to Muskingum, it was a 2-1. A lot of that just came down to draft pick. And speaking of draft pick, we are already underway in the band pick phase for the first game. Marietta will be on blue side, Ohio Northern will be on the red side. So we'll see what kind of bands that Marietta will be going with. And looks like they're hovering over the Jarvan. Oh, actually, no, they switched to Nocturne at the last second. Ohio Northern goes with the Kled. They know that Cressman does play that a bit often, so they do not want to see that in the top lane.
And we've seen Kled in the past few times from that top lane. Looks like Marietta may be looking a little bit there for hitting their jungler and a little bit of the ADC so far. Actually going around everywhere a little bit.
Yeah, the Quinn's the Quinn is interesting. So they must have seen something from ONU's play history to say that they want to go up against that. And we see a couple targets in the mid lane for LeBlanc and Syndra. And Marietta's already first picking the Jarvan. I think it's a pretty solid pick. I mean, one of the things that's really difficult with be on the blue side for picking is you get first pick, but you also can get counter pick. So picking something like a jungler makes it a little bit difficult for that to get counter picked.
Gotcha. And we do see a Zach looks like coming out for the jungle side of ONU. So Marietta maybe looked like trying to ban the Jarvan against Ohio Northern, but decided, well, we get first pick, we'll take that Jarvan and we'll take out that Nocturne, maybe hurting that jungler a little bit more. Maybe he's playing something a little less comfortable. So.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure what their play history is exactly, but we see the Kale coming up pretty quickly, and we see the Jinx Galio. Now, Galio is an interesting flex pick. I've seen him in the mid lane. I've seen him in the support. Although I think lately he's been more of a support champion. And with Leona being banned, like Jinx Leona is a very strong bot lane combo. So it looks like they're going to go with the Jinx Galio instead. So you got the long distance damage from Jinx. And then you got the harassment from Galio, so that's just still be a pretty good.
And you get a little bit of tankiness from Galio and everything too, and yeah, so you can have some pretty good synergy, hopefully, bot lane for Marietta there.
Right. And we see that Ohio Northern's going with the Nautilus for their support. So we see the Ari band coming out and the Caitlyn. So Right now, Ohio Northern still has to pick their mid and ADC. Marietta still has to pick what's supposed we would assume to be the top end mid laners. But we don't want the Caitlyn to go up against the Jinx because Caitlyn is a good counter pick for that. So that's why she got banned. Now we'll see what the last ban is for Ohio Northern. So it looks like it's going to be the Lissandra. So they do not want to see Larson play that.
They're giving some good focus on that mid lane, trying to make sure that Larson is as uncomfortable as he can be, apparently. Taking out that Ari, which is one of his favorites. Lissandra and Syndra are both some pretty good ones. Maybe also looking at some counter options that could possibly hurt their own mid lane there.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, Larson has a pretty diverse champion pool. So you're not going to ban him out. So it's really just what do you not want to go up against? And I don't think Larson's had any chance to play the Ari. I think everyone's just going to...
They're always getting rid of that one.
Ban him. And it looks like the Kaiser is going to be picked for the AD for Ohio Northern. So now we'll see how Mary's going to respond to this. So the challenge here is they already know what's going to be in the top lane, so they can counter that. But whatever Larson picks, Ohio Northern is probably going to find some way to counter it. So it's going to be a matter of what champion, like if you're going to get countered, what champion you're going to pick that if you're going to get countered with it, you could still be fine in that lane. So we'll see what they go with. It looks like they're going with the
Kennen. Kennen for the mid lane?
I think that's a top.
Top lane?
Top lane
Okay.
Kennen's usually popular.
I've seen him play both in the past before, so I wouldn't be surprised either way, depending on the group that I play with.
Now,
so
now here's something that could really blow our minds. What if they pick a support and the Galio ends up being mid?
That's very possible. I mean, take a Galio mid lane and
no, they
Orianna.
go with the Orianna. And that's a pretty safe pick, but I got some things about this comp. We'll talk about in just a little bit. I want to see what ONU goes with. This is an interesting comp for Marietta, at least the way they have things set up. I like it.
No, yeah, I see what you're talking about here. The now, Galio's ulti is still the pull-in, right?
Okay, hold on, wait. Okay, so Ohio Northern just went with Gnar. I think the Kale was a flex pick.
Well, Kale being possible support.
No, I think that's a mid Kale.
A mid Kale.
Yeah, because the Nautilus, I believe that's still a support Nautilus. That's not top Nautilus.
I mean, most likely Gnar is going to be top lane.
Gnar top. Yeah, in fact, we're already underway here.
Zach
so let
jungle.
me get the
Kale mid.
and let me get the audio here going for you guys so you can hear. And we'll just get some confirmations here after the bans. Yeah, what's really interesting about the composition for Marietta is that you got the Jarvan with the Cataclysm.
So he gets people locked in where they can't escape, or they got to waste a flash to get out.
Yeah, so he gets them all trapped up in the Cataclysm. You follow that with an Orianna ult, because they're already grouped up. You follow that with a Kennen ult.
Which is another big AoE kind of style version there.
Boom, they're all dead.
Or the other side of that is you get that Orianna ult in there, pulling them all together, get the Jarvan in there to make sure they're all trapped inside.
Yeah, so either way, you got the engage with the Orianna and the Jarvan. So
even tossing Jinx in there with some of her splash damage from her rocket can really help deal some extra damage to a grouped up team.
And then you tack on the Galio with his ult just crashing on top. I mean, you got this like all in, just everyone grouped up and just smash them to death.
It's an AoE group up fight combination there between all their ultis. So,
all right, so that is going to be a Kale mid lane, which is very interesting. I have not seen a Kale mid. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but it's just interesting. So they definitely flexed that because they picked it having Marietta anticipate Kale being top. But yeah, I have no idea how a Kale Orianna matchup goes. So.
How it would go against each other? Yeah. I mean, she gets that Q to give her a little bit of range, but most of Kale's going to be fairly up close. You know, I mean, she gets a little bit of distance with her E, but. Right. And she doesn't have as much poke as I think Orianna would.
Right. So I think Larson would have the advantage in the early game. It's going to come down to what happens when Kale's passive kicks in, because that's when she's going to have more of the wave clears, and then that might give her a chance to push up on Larson. But that's going to be a couple of levels. So I would expect Mary to try to at least shut down the Kale early on. Although with the Kaisa pick, they may try to turn their attention more in the bot lane. try to get the Jinx going, because a Fed Kai'Sa is a very scary Kai'Sa. So we'll have to see where Marietta decides to focus their attention, whether it's the mid lane or the bot lane.
And a lot of that's going to come down to Nox and how his rotation is going to be for jungle, and where, how much pushing are the different lanes for Marietta going to be doing to where they can leave, hopefully, Ohio Northern vulnerable for a gank from their jungler.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in on Kinnan and Gnar top lane too, because they both have those kind of boomerang, shuriken poking throws. So it'd be interesting. Kinnan has some quick escapes and stuff too, but getting Gnar turning in, throwing rocks into that big monster and everything too.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun top lane, I think.
Yeah, I would think the advantage would be a bit with the Kinnan, just the fact that you can kind of escape from the Mega Gnar, but they did pick Gnar knowing that they're going to go against the Kinnan, so they do believe that they have the advantage over the Kinnan. So obviously they know something that I don't. And who am I to say? I'm only like level 3 in League of Legends. Level 53, not level 3, level 53. Okay. But all right, so the game is underway, so we're just kind of under spectator delay. So we just kind of have to stall things out for about 3 minutes. So just a couple of reminders of what's going on here. You're watching Marietta College Esports, so thank you for all of you who are watching or spending your Saturday morning watching this. So we've had several matches the past couple of days. So earlier we had our Overwatch team, and they tried their best, but Ohio Northern just has a very good Overwatch team. Right now you're watching our League of Legends team. We had our Rocket League match the other day against Defiance, but they fell to Defiance, unfortunately. And then yesterday, our Rainbow Six team participated in Collegiate R6. They went up against Colorado School of Mines, and they had some good rounds, but overall, Colorado was the better team that night. But we do have some other teams that are competing as well. So we have our Fortnite teams. So they do exhibition matches every Monday with a couple schools in the conference. And I'm going to be careful how they say this. We're going to we may be able to broadcast the matches on Monday.
Okay.
We've been working on some stuff, some technology to make that possible. And we still have to test a couple things. So Monday, it might be kind of like a testing for the broadcast, but we've been wanting
we may
to
see some Fortnite gameplay from Marietta College available on Mondays.
Yeah, it is possible that we'll be able to broadcast the Fortnite match on Monday. We are going to try.
Okay.
So if you want to know for sure whether or not doing that, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media pages. So you can follow us on Twitter at Marietta Esports, Facebook at Marietta College Esports, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's bit.ly/Marietta College Esports, and we upload all of our matches on there a week after the broadcast.
Okay.
So like if you missed out on the Rocket League match or the Rainbow Six match the other day, next Thursday you will see our Rocket League match against Defiance, and next Friday you will see our Rainbow Six match against Colorado School of Mines.
Okay.
Now, if you can't wait that long, if you're impatient, I'm a pretty impatient person, you can always subscribe to our channel. And I noticed earlier that there were some people that subscribed, and thank you so much for your support. It does help us out. But by subscribing to our channel, you will have instant access to all of our VODs. Okay. So even after this match, when we go off the air, you'll be able to watch the match again. Now, whether you want to watch or not, we'll see how things go. Hopefully you will want to watch it again. Yeah, but you'll have access to our VODs. You'll have access to our custom emotes courtesy of our Department of Communication and Brand Management. Oh. And because of your support, we were able to access a new emote for everyone. And I see a couple of people in the chat being able to use our new Pio Smile emote. And we have a couple more ready to go. We just need a little bit more support from people, and we'll be able to have that to you. Yeah. So
as the subscriber count grows, there'll be more emotes and more things available through Twitch. So.
Yeah, so thank you all for your support. It does help us out. It allows us to any proceeds from that allows us to purchase equipment, supplies. We're working on designing custom jerseys for our teams.
Oh, that's very good.
We're ordering new equipment for our esports facility to be able to support console gaming.
The assistant coaches and stuff you've been able to get.
We've been able to get coaches. So your support is making a difference. So with continued support, we'll be able to do more things with it. And In fact, we have some other things I'm really excited about, but we're about ready to start this game, so remind me when we get to game 2 about something I'm really stoked to announce that's going to happen in a couple of weeks.
Great. All right, so it looks like we are getting into the match here.
Just getting everything set up.
Both players are getting dropped into the arena.
Yes. So I know you hear the sound. I'm just double checking a couple things to make sure we are good to go. And once everything is good, all right, so here we go. We are underway. Game 1, Marietta College versus Ohio Northern University. Best of 3.
And we do have both teams taking their usual positions right along the river.
Yeah, along the I think they usually call it the line of scrimmage or 5-point. We don't see any invades. I wouldn't expect that in game 1, but
maybe in game 2, depending on how the teams feel each other out and what they think they can do, or if they have the advantage and they want to push a little further because of a win. So we'll see what happens in game 2. But I feel more like we're gonna have a safer game going on here in this one.
And we do get a pause early on, and I think we're gonna have to check the chat here to see what's going on here.
So someone's having issues with their sound right now. So.
Yeah, okay,
they're just trying to fix, looks like Ohio Northern's Kale.
Yeah.
Having some issues with their sound. They're going to try to fix their sound real quick, and then we'll be going back into this match here.
Yeah, I mean, technical difficulties happen. I mean, it happened a little bit with our Overwatch team with just trying to get people logged and connected. So Ohio Northern's having a couple issues. So we just got to wait. So that gives me time for the big announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, so our college does several open house events. So actually earlier today they had an open house for those that are interested in STEM fields.
Okay.
And I think I can't remember if it's next week or like a little bit the week after, there'll be one for, I believe, those that are interested in arts and humanities and so forth. But on November 2nd, now we do have a match during this time, but the college is having their big fall open house.
Okay.
And we've been trying to reach out to esports players, high school esports players that have expressed interest in coming to Marietta College or playing esports. We are planning on having tryouts for any high school senior that is interested in playing esports at Marietta College. So if you're a high school senior and you're interested in playing esports in college, I encourage you to go to Marietta College admissions. I wish I had the link in front of me, but I don't.
Okay.
If you search for Marietta College admissions for the fall open house on November 2nd, there is a registration form that can be filled out. And along with that, we are able to offer a few scholarships for incoming students for fall 2020.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so once again, because of everyone's support with helping the program grow, we are able to start offering scholarships. And hopefully, as we get additional support, we'll be able to increase the number of scholarships we can offer and the amounts of the scholarships. But if you come try out on Saturday, November 2nd, you may get a scholarship for playing esports at Marietta College.
That sounds really great. So if you know somebody, make sure you let them know November 2nd that that's going to be going on.
You do have to register ahead of time. We can't really do walk-ins for this, so just make sure you go to the college admissions site to register for the open house event. But we do see that the audio issues have been fixed, and we are underway in game 1.
Yep, laning phase has begun. Yeah.
It's all good.
So we're going to be getting into here, see how our laners go. I'm interested to see how this mid lane kind of plays out with Oriana versus Kale. We have our little guys fighting up top right now.
Yeah, I also see just how the Kennen-Gnar matchup goes. Just because, I mean, Ohio Northern picked the Gnar going into the Kennen, so I want to see do they believe they have that advantage over Kennen or not. And we see that the hook coming in from Nautilus and getting a lot of health onto Galio, and first blood does go to Ohio Northern.
Yeah, they started to pull back. They saw that Nautilus kind of go into those bushes, and they saw the push up from the ADC, but didn't pull back enough. He's not tanky enough.
Yeah, they had the vision there, but it just seemed like they did not respect the Nautilus hook, and they got punished for it. You do see a little trading going on the top. At least Kennen getting some poke onto Gnar. So even though Gnar has that boomerang early on, it has a very long cooldown, even if you catch it. So Gnar's not going to be able to get a lot of poke. Now, as he levels up his Q, then that cooldown gets reduced, and he can just start throwing it like whenever, and he doesn't have to worry about running out of mana because he doesn't have a mana bar.
All right, so we have a bot lane here. A little bit of poke here, but we do have a Jarvan catching a Zac out in the jungle.
Getting very low in health, he'll flash and actually cause him to split.
He's causing his passive to happen. We'll see if we can actually get a Zac. When we do. Wow. We get Zac to go down. Not much that the Kayle mid lane was able to do to be able to stop that, because we'd have Orianna come in trying to help out and making sure that they capture that Zac.
And while that was going on, it looked like Ohio Northern's bot lane was trying to back out, but Marietta prevented them from doing so they're stuck in the lane.
Which is good. That keeps them from being able to buy and get that little bit of extra damage from that first blood. We do see a lot of damage going on Kayle here from this Orianna. And maybe forcing Kayle to have to back here before too long. She does have a little bit of a heal.
Yeah, but it's not much. It's not as strong as it used to be. I remember a long time ago, I actually would try out Kayle's support when it was actually viable and had a very strong heal, but it's not as effective now. Although we see Zac going and trying to get the gank attempt, and here comes Jarvan.
Trying to support Orianna and keep her from dying. We do know Zac's passive is down right now, so if he goes down, he's not going to have that extra ability of staying alive, but it does look like Zac is going to be getting away.
But he did have to flash away to get to do that. So his flash is going to be down for a while, so it's going to be a little difficult for Zac to get any gank attempts in.
And these top laners can stay for a while because neither one of them have mana, so it's going to be all about how they can sustain and keep their health up. But I mean, you could have Kennen and Gnar here up for a while.
Yeah, we see Kennen does have a health potion, but Gnar just only has his Doran's Blade, so he's not going to have as much sustain compared to Kennen. But although he's a little ahead in the CS, so he's able to stay in lane just fine, even though he's getting poked a bit more than Kennen. And we see the Kayle having the back out, and Larson will use his teleport to get back into lane while Kayle is backing out.
Yeah, he already went back, was able to buy, and has gotten back to lane while Kayle had to defend that tower a little bit and keep the damage and not lose that CS. So Jinx able to get a little bit of free farm down below while the Ohio Northern bot lane finally got to go back, got to return. So as far as items for the bot lane, not looking. There's a little bit more sustain on Ohio Northerns, but besides that,
in terms of mana, so I mean, they have a little bit more mana, a little bit of mana regen. Although Brimstone does have a couple extra health potions that Kai'Sa does not have. Although we see the Zac coming in, I don't know if they spotted him out, but they are pulling out, and the hook missed, fortunately, because I think if the hook landed, Zac would have jumped right in.
And Zac's still preparing for a jump, and here he comes in, going bot lane, but we do have the Jarvan coming in to give some support as well, so Galio and Jarvan both diving in, jumping onto that Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa goes down, they're chasing down Zac, who I believe his passive is still down right now.
And a teleport actually comes in for Kennen.
And now are they going to push this Nautilus? And it looks like they are. Diving that tower. Galio's going to be going down to tower, giving Nautilus a kill. But that was a 3-for-1.
3v1, and I think they're heading straight for Dragon.
Yep, Kennen's returning back to top lane here. Going to go back and buy. But yeah, that Jarvan and Jinx are going to be taking out the Dragon here.
And Orianna pops her ult to get the Kayle back. And is already at half health, but
as long as Orianna can make sure Kayle can't go and contest that Dragon at all, they should be able to get that before Zac can return, and there it is.
Yeah, so Marietta gets the Mountain Drake, so first Dragon. So they didn't get first blood, but they did get first Dragon.
And we see them now with a 4-2 lead as far as kills go right now, and a what we got? Just a slight 0.5k.
Yeah, it's about 600-700 gold, so it's not a huge difference, but it is a slight gold lead. So
even though they missed out on that first blood, they were able to kind of pull it back a little bit.
Yeah,
here,
I think part of the difference is while Kennen went down to help get that extra kill, that gave Gnar a chance to get some farm, because you can see that Gnar is ahead by a good
almost
amount
double
of CS. Yeah. So Kennen's going to have to kind of get his farm back up. Otherwise, he's going to start falling behind.
Kennen's taking some damage from Gnar, but in the time that we've been talking about it, he's been able to jump his CS up a few more compared to what Gnar has been able to do. So
it looks like Zac's going to take another attempt.
And getting that stun against the wall is going to take out Kennen, so there's going to be another kill confirmed by Ohio Northern. Now Zach being able to jump in there and then Gnar being able to secure that stun there kept Kennen, even with his mobility that he had, from being able to get away. That may, how low do we have this top tower now? Not too bad. It shouldn't be going down here on this time, but
no.
Gnar's been able to deal some decent damage with Kennen teleporting down earlier, and then also that death there.
Yeah, so even with the kill that Kennen has, Gnar is definitely taking a pretty good lead there. So Cressman's going to have to be very careful, because that's probably going to be where Zach will try to focus on, just trying to keep the Gnar strong.
And we have seen Nox several times bot lane and a couple times mid lane, but we haven't seen him be able to try to help top lane. So maybe we'll see the jungle try to rotate a little bit more.
So close. So Jinx used her ult to try to hit the Kayle and just didn't quite connect. That would have been awesome to see, because
Orianna had her really low, right?
We see Zach going onto Orianna, getting pretty low, popping his ult. But Larson still has his flash up, so he decided not to use it yet.
Looks like Zach ran away. I don't know, did they have vision of that Jarvan coming in? Because Jarvan was preparing to come in to help, but he turned and backed off fairly
they don't
early.
have any vision, so I don't think they do, but
maybe lacking that vision, he was a little afraid of diving in there with that Jarvan, because Jarvan's been
probably
trapping.
noticed that Orianna was going in that direction and thought, okay, there's going to be a Jarvan in that bush or something.
I'm not going that way.
Yeah, he didn't fall for the bait.
So bot lane CS-wise is fairly close, but top lane right now is where the struggle is occurring. Even in mid lane, Marietta is ahead by a good bit in CS as well.
Yeah, although we do see some possible poking going on in the blue side jungle for Marietta. I think they wanted to take Marietta's blue buff, and now we're going to see Orianna getting caught, and he's got to flash away.
Orianna walking into that bush, no ward or anything, face checking it to a Zac and a Kayle, both inside.
We see the Negnar coming back out, but Kennen's going to try to get away from that. It's just more harassment.
We have Jarvan coming up behind Zac while Zac's going in on Orianna, but I think he saw that Jarvan just in time that he's, we're not going to fight this. Right now, gold, we're even. We'll have to see where we can get the advantage. Right now, I think the ADC bot lane has a little bit more gold, but top lane here is behind a good bit.
Although,
and also the Jarvan here has 2 kills on him with the bounty.
I mean, the fact that Kai says 1-1, okay, we do see a fight going on to the Zac, and Orianna's getting very low. The Orianna will come out onto Kayle. Zac does get broken up, but it looks like he will get reassembled. But Kale's getting very low, and we see the Galileo coming down in the bot lane. Brimstone will fall. So right now it's a 2-for-1 with fights going all over the map. So that is a win for...
Looks like Ohio Northern came out on top over those fights there. We did see Jinx go down bot lane with no repercussions there on Ohio Northern, and then in the mid lane, Orianna did go down, and Jarvan was able to secure a kill against Kayle. But overall, Ohio Northern looks like they came out on top between the 2 fights we had.
Yeah, but Zac's passive did get burned in the process. So if he does go down again, then he will
leave him. It's going to leave him more vulnerable in future ganks here for the next couple minutes.
And we see some pings going on in the Dragon Pit, so the Marietta's starting to converge there. The Infernal Drake is up. In fact, Marietta's already started on it, and it's very low, so they should be able to secure this dragon.
Ohio Northern kind of trying to collapse a little bit, but fine, it's too late. Nautilus already backing and whatnot, so we're probably going to be seeing a return to lane here, trying to keep that gold as even as they can with grabbing that dragon. We find Marietta still behind by about 700 gold.
Yeah, so I think just maybe another team fight or a couple of kills. But having the Infernal Drake will allow them to do some extra damage, and the Mountain Drake will allow them to get some more damage onto the towers. So even though Gold Whites are behind, the Dragon buffs should help.
Then get a little damage on these towers, get a little bit of that plating.
Yeah, it's only up for like another minute if I remember correctly. The plating falls at about 14 minutes, so they have less than a minute to try to get some turret plating. Yeah, I don't see a place where they could be able to get that. Bot lane's pretty well pushed for Ohio Northern, and top lane is pretty well pushed.
And the mid lane has the cover of Zac right now too. Orianna trying to take out a few wards, trying to close in vision here. And here's turret plating about to fall in about 30 more seconds.
Yes, I don't think we would see any more turret plating. Right now, everyone's just kind of clearing wards, getting vision control back. But we do see pinks going on, so Larson may be looking to roam down. And we see a Jarvan nearby as well, but they're going to spot out the Jarvan, so they're going to back away.
We do see Ohio Northern going in on this Rift Herald.
And that is uncontested. I don't think Marietta is aware that they're going for it, so Ohio Northern should be able to take this without any issue.
Yeah, currently they had no vision there. Kennen wasn't in lane where he could try to contest it. Orianna was busy with Kayle, so they had a good moment there of being able to keep him.
And there are some pinks going on the top lane, so we may be seeing a dive going on here. He's actually going to summon the Rift Herald right there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Kennen's going to back out of there. There's not much he's going to be able to do against Zac, Gnar, and a Rift Herald.
And that does give first turret to Ohio Northern.
We do see Jarvan coming up top lane to perhaps try to assist. He's trying not to get picked in between Zac and Kayle here. Kennen's able to take out this Rift Herald pretty easily, so it doesn't do any more damage to the second turret.
But with that first tower, that does give Ohio Northern about a 1.6, 1.7k gold lead at about a little over 15 minutes into the game. Marietta's going to have to look for a good pick, and they might, I'll say they almost got it with the Gnar. Gnar was just kind of hovering around over there.
Well, we had Zac and Gnar coming into Marietta's jungle trying to get some extra vision, get some wards placed, but Marietta came in through and started removing everything that they had just placed. So they're trying to negate that vision as much as they can. Maybe place a couple wards of their own, since now it's going to be a little bit more dangerous for Kennen to try to keep that lane pushed up.
Now in the bot lane, we do see Kai'Sa does have a little bit of a CS lead over Brimstone. About 12 CS, which isn't a whole lot, but that can still make a difference. So it's still even enough, I would say. But the 2 kills that Kai'Sa had doesn't help either, though.
Yeah, you do have the 2 kills and the assists there, helping Kai'Sa out a bit.
So we are looking at about a 1,200 gold difference between the 2 AD carries.
Alright, so Marietta does have this team comp, which is going to be good for team fights, but if Ohio Northern keeps it in the laning phase as long as they can, it's not helping them as much for their team fight comp.
And we do see that Kayle's passive has now kicked in, so that's going to make wave management a little bit more of a challenge for Larson.
We do have Zac charging up.
Be jumping in. But he will get away without too much issue. And actually the Gnar was over there, so they might have been looking at a 3-person gank.
It looks like they're maybe preparing to clear out Dragon, make sure they get this next Drake that's going to be popping up here.
It is up in 25 seconds, so I would expect a team fight there for the Infernal Drake. Although see Kayle and Gnar kind of headed back up top, but they do have their well, Gnar already burned his teleport. Only Kayle has the teleport up. So if Marietta starts to start up this Dragon, Gnar will not be able to come down, but Kennen still has his teleport up. He's going to actually back away. So Kennen might actually look into teleporting into this Dragon fight.
So Gnar currently up top lane. He's going to have a long run ahead of him to try to come down here to try to help with it.
And the Cataclysm actually goes on to, and the Galileo will come in, but it's going to miss because the rest of Ohio Northern's able to get away. So they've already burned 2 ults and no kills for it.
And here comes Zac charging up, getting ready to jump into here. Probably.
But Marietta was able to get the Dragon while that was going on.
We see jumping onto Kai'Sa here. Kai'Sa goes down to MC Cowboy. And meanwhile, Kennen goes down. While we have the fight continuing through here, we see some ultis. Did Zac use his ulti? I believe he used his ulti a second ago here.
Yeah, I think he did.
But Gnar also triggering his Mega Gnar. absorbing a lot of damage and chasing down this Oriana here at the end.
So that is a 4 for 2 in Ohio Northern's favor, but Marietta did get the dragon, so I mean that might be an okay trade, but that did give a couple kills onto the Kale. So that's going to make her very scary. Get her attack speed going with their passive. It's just going to make wave clearing a challenge.
Yeah, they were able to jump on that Kai'Sa, but Kennen was able to. Kennen was trying to go into the back line there, go after that Kale, but Kale was able to tear through Kennen fairly easily. Meanwhile, you had Zach and Gnar both jump into the middle of everyone else and absorb a lot of that damage, kind of negating a lot of the damage that Marietta was doing.
All right, so about 19 minutes in, we are looking at about a 3,000 goal lead for Ohio Northern. So it's not over yet, but we do see Kale starting to put some damage onto Larson. So we are seeing how powerful Kale can be. I think we've seen her. I think she's been used in Worlds a couple of times. So I mean, I know Korea uses her for several matches, but we are starting to see how powerful Kale can be.
So far for Kale, what items are we seeing? We're seeing attack speed boots, and her other item is a... This one. Oh, the Hextech gun blow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see Larson's getting caught and getting very low. He'll pop his ult to disengage, but he should be able to get away. And we see the engage into the bot lane. So Jinx will go down. The Cataclysm will go in. But the Mega Gnar stun's going to kick in too and get knocked very low. But he'll get away. But Galio will break off the...
Gets hit by that last rock by Mega Gnar, taking out the Jarvan. And then Galio trying to hold to keep... I think he was trying to keep Jarvan alive as long as he could. By
I think he was trying to finish off the Zac, and he was not able to do it, so he got punished for it. So that is 3 kills.
May have trapped his own teammate in there when they were low as well. I think that's what caused. Was it Jinx down there that did die? Because Jinx already dropped really low. He was already popped up.
He was low, so Zac jumped in, and then I think Jarvan did the Cataclysm. I think that was the trap to Zac, because I think he was going to pop his ult and drag out Brimstone there. But yeah, but that was a 3-0 for Ohio Northern. So now that increases their lead by about 5,000 gold.
And they lose the bottom tower now. So we're going to be seeing a little bit more pushes coming in here from Ohio Northern. We have top and bottom now, and mid lane, all with their tier 1 towers down. If they can kind of come together and get these team fights to work out the way they want, Marietta may be able to get some picks on like the weaker members of the team. The Kale, while doing a lot of damage, and the Kai'Sa, like, you know, if Marietta can manage to get all their damage targeted where they need it to be with these ulties.
Right. And then we see them trying to get some damage onto Zac, so he gets away, but his passive is down, so if they were able to finish him off, they would have gotten a kill, but he was able to leap away. We see Kai'Sa catching out the Galio, and the Nautilus will come in.
We'll see Galio fall to Kai'Sa and Nautilus here. Yeah. Meanwhile, Kennen trying to hold this Mega Gnar back, but this monster is just tearing through this.
He's just very tanky at this point. He's already got the cleaver, he's already got other items, so he's just... There's not a good answer for him at this point. So Jarvan's going to try to take care of the Gnar, but he's going to try to leap away. Cataclysm will go in.
It's a little too far to be able to get the extra tower damage on him, but Jarvan is going to be able to secure that kill. Doing a little bit of damage there. That's going to be the first death, I believe, to Gnar there. Yeah, and the shutdown gold will go to Jarvan as a result. So that helps a little bit, but Mary's got to look for those same kind of just kills throughout the map. These 1v0s, just to get their gold lead back to... They need to watch for those pushes too far, like from Gnar, but they also need to... The Galio incident we had a little bit ago, where Galio pushed in the wrong direction and found himself caught with the support and ADC. Yeah, I think they need to be watching out for those moments as well. And there's another moment here with Jarvan getting caught out against a Zac and a Kai'Sa, but able to escape that moment there. Really nice ult there by Larson, and they do get the drop. The teleport's going to be coming in, so that's going to force Marietta back off. We do see Galio kind of getting out of place here, trying to get away, but Zac's trying to cut him off. It's going to force Galio down river. Meanwhile, Jinx is trying to come in And Gnar is coming in from behind, fighting Jinx as well, while Galio's getting caught by Zac and the rest of the team. But Gnar is going to go down to Brimstone, and Galio's going to be going down to Kai'Sa.
So that is a 1 for 2 right now, and the Cloud Drake is up, and Kai'Sa's already about 2/3 of her health left. But they are kind of hanging out. But going back to what we were saying earlier, the problem is that Marietta does not have any vision in the top river. And so when they get close to it, Northern's just kind of right there ready. And we see the re-engage go on by Zac. And the Kennen ult will come out to try to catch people, but Kennen will fall to Kai'Sa. And the Zhonya's will come out, and Cataclysm will come out as well. They get the shutdown onto Kayle. The Zac's very low, but Kai'Sa gets the double kill.
We do get a shutdown from Brimstone here, being able to secure that Zac kill since he does not have his passive up. Meanwhile, though, Orianna's able to escape. She's able to go down in the jungle and get back. But we still have Jinx and Galio here mid lane trying to push this tower. So I think they were looking at the Cloud Drake, and they knew that Ohio Northern was kind of weak. And they're like, well, if you're going to go for that Cloud Drake, we're going to take your mid tower. But then Ohio Northern turned on them, brought in the team fight on that tower.
Right. They actually pushed them off the Cloud Drake. They were able to get a couple kills, so they use that as a chance to try to push for the tower because they need towers right now. They don't have it. It's almost 25 minutes of the game, and they don't have a single tower down just yet. But they were grouped up, so Zac took advantage of that to leap right on top of everyone to disorient. So they're going to have to be, although usually when you're going up against a Kennen, you got to make sure you're not grouped up, but looks like they're going to have to be very careful as well when going up against a Zac.
Gotcha. We did see the Kennen ult go out, and it didn't get enough damage, enough stuns out to be able to really turn the tide of that battle.
Yeah, we see Ohio Northern starting up the Cloud Drake, and it's just melting really fast. I don't think Marietta's going to have a response to it, so they're going to let them take it.
And make sure they don't get caught out here, being pushed out too far. They don't have a tower until their second tier right now. And it does look like Ohio Northern is going to be pushing up into the upper river. Perhaps looking at... No, they're pulling back down. Okay.
I think they'd be looking at least Baron vision a little bit, or at least controlling the mid lane so they could get more control around Baron. They're warning Crestman because they are heading towards up there. So Crestman wouldn't be able to split push much longer, so he has to back out.
They are pushing up here, getting some vision here around the Baron. As of right now, with the whole Marietta team up, I don't know that's a good time that they would actually try to do Baron, but getting this vision here, maybe pushing to the top lane and causing more push there. Kind of hoping to open up maybe a Baron push here.
And we see Brimstone using the Jinx ult, I think just using that to try to get some vision on what's going on with the Baron and see that they haven't started on it yet. And a tower does go down for Marietta, so the mid tower does go down, so that opens up at least a little bit of the map for Marietta. But we see Gnar doing the split pushing in the top lane, is able to take out the top inner tower.
But we do see Ohio Northern going on this Baron here. So we have four of them on the Baron right now. Meanwhile, Gnar is pushing that top lane, taking out that top tower. We only have 3 members of Marietta pushing in this jungle, and they're actually getting distracted by Gnar right now. And that gives Baron to Ohio Northern without Marietta being able to contest it.
Yeah, Marietta didn't have any vision. They didn't have any way of going up there. And we see Cowboy just getting caught out. It's just overextending, staying too long, and getting punished for it. So Kennen's trying to split push and get some more towers, but he's going to have to come back because right now Ohio Northern is threatening this top inhibitor. The tower is already very low. The Orianna and the Cataclysm comes in.
You see the tower go down, and a lot of damage going out to the multiple members of both teams here, but Zac able to utilize his passive. He's not down yet. Nautilus barely holding on with just a sliver of health, and they do manage to take out 4 members of Marietta, with Orianna being the last one with just a little bit left, trying to just hold what she can, but she's gonna have to hold for 25 seconds.
Yeah, that was a 4v2 as a result, so Kai'Sa getting like several kills there.
Once again, they're able to take out that Zac passive, but they weren't able to actually secure the kill, so he's able to come back and still wreak havoc after the rest of the Marietta team's already dead because they focused all that damage on Zac. And Nautilus, he had like 1 health. He had a sliver there at the very end of that team fight.
Oh yeah, they just weren't able to finish it off there. And with that, the inhibitor does go down for Marietta, so now they're going to have to keep someone in the top lane just to make sure they keep clearing the super minions. So that's really going to kind of close off the map for Marietta because they're not going to be able to push too far without keeping some form of attention in the top lane.
And with much of Ohio Northern currently having this Baron buff still, if they push down the bot lane and push that one, you're still going to have someone in Marietta watching that top lane, keeping those super minions from pushing too much, and they're going to be able to buff those bottom minions as well, or even the mid minions. Either way.
So there's about 28.5 minutes left, not left, but 28.5 minutes into the game, and Ohio Northern is up by about 6,500 gold, I would say. Maybe now it's about 7,000 gold actually.
Yeah, roughly 7,000 gold here. As far as the lead, Marietta kind of struggling to find these team fights. The team fight comp they have, I don't know if it's that I think a lot of it is that they're getting caught out. Earlier during that Baron thing, we had Galio trying to push in to get vision on the Baron, and then getting cut off from the rest of his team, which he only had Jarvan and I think Jinx there, and Gnar was able to cut them off, and then when Galio was trying to escape, he had to go past that Gnar and kind of got picked off and couldn't really escape from the rest of the team after they destroyed Baron.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have the vision, I mean, it comes down to not having the vision. So if you're going to push up, you have to make sure you reestablish the vision there. Otherwise, you're disrespecting the other team, and you get punched for it. When we saw there before a couple times that Marietta's trying to push up, they don't have the vision, and they get caught out, and they get picked off, or at least get very low, so they have to back away. And right now we see a little bit of a split push going on for Ohio Northern, because there's that Baron and Powered Cannon minion is just going to keep putting damage onto that bottom tower, while the rest of Ohio Northern is trying to put pressure into the mid lane. But of course, you have the super minions in the top lane that can't be ignored. It's actually being pinged out. So someone from Marietta is going to have to head over to address that super minion. And no one seems to be going after it, so Marietta's going to have to answer it, otherwise it's going to start taking out Nexus towers.
Well, they're a little worried here of pulling back, because once they pull back, it's going to be a 3v5, 4v5. They're even pushing out here a little bit into the jungle, which if they can get a little bit of vision to destroy some vision, but you don't want to push out too far that someone can get picked off and leave them in even a stickier situation here.
So right now, Ohio Northern will start from the Mountain Drake, and it's already at less than half health, and Marietta's going to concede it. They just can't go into it. If you look at the jungle, all the wards are red, except for like one. So if Marietta goes into a blind jungle, they can get picked off very easily. And at this point, if anyone gets picked off like that, that might be enough to finish the game.
Yeah. The only wards that Marietta currently had were the ones that they had just placed when they pushed into there at that point. So Ohio Northern's been doing a very good job of making sure they clear out all these wards. They limit the vision from Marietta, and they're just trying to take all the objectives they can and just keep pushing and winning these team fights.
To this point, Marietta's going to have to look for a pick. Like, if they go into a 5v5 team fight, they're at a big disadvantage, because right now the gold lead is more than 8,000. It's almost a 9,000 gold difference 31 minutes into the game. So if they try to go for a 5v5, unless it's perfectly executed, even then that's not guaranteed. So Marietta's got to find some way to look for a mistake. Look for an overextension, try to pick someone off, and force Ohio Northern to back off while Marietta can try to continue to farm as all these minions are crashing into their base.
But right now, Ohio Northern, the Kai'Sa and the Kayle are both doing a very good job. They're staying with their tanks, they're staying with Zac, they're staying with Nautilus. They're trying to make sure that they're with someone who can peel off, anyone who's diving on them. You have the pull from Nautilus. You also have that arm with Zac that you can get some CC down, whatever, to pull them off of your carries.
Yeah, and everyone else is so tanky. In fact, Kennen might actually go down here just from the boomerangs. He's having to pop the Zanyas.
Uses his ulti to try to get a stun or something on the Gnar, but it's not enough.
Yeah, Veganar will pop his ult to finish off the Kennen. So the problem is, like, with the Gnar, he's so tanky but does a lot of damage in itself. But 2 for Marietta has already gone down, so they finally get the Gnar down, but at what cost?
Yeah, the 2 that take it down, the rest of their team is already dead now. They've pushed through the mid lane. Ohio Northern is just wreaking havoc on the rest of their team while they're going after that Gnar, and he has so much health and so much tankiness that it doesn't matter. They're able to get another inhibitor, so we have no towers left except for the actual Nexus towers. 2 inhibitors are currently down for Marietta, with 1 left, which we may be seeing going down right here with Zac and Nautilus coming back in.
Yeah, so Marietta stopped the push there, but we see Zac and Nautilus coming back here. The problem is Zac, Nautilus, and Gnar are all very tanky. So it's going to be really hard to pick off any one of them. And meanwhile, you would have the Kai'Sa and the Kayle in the back line just doing a lot of damage. they will try to push him away because Nautilus is pretty low, and so is Kai'Sa.
And the thing too is, like, if you can't focus on these tanks too, those are the ones that also have the CC. They're the ones that have the pulls. They're the ones that have the stuns that are limiting, you know, the carries and their actions that they can do to try to take out these other carries for Ohio Northern.
You might see some converging going on, possibly the Baron. I don't think Ohio Northern would start the Baron just yet, but I think they were just trying to get away, back off, reset, and then come back.
We see several backings. We saw Marietta kind of going in, trying to clear out some of this vision that they have in the upper jungle area around Baron. Not getting any vision of their own, though, which is the biggest hindrance of that.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see any blue wards in the jungle at all. Like, they have one where I think that's just a scuttle crab, but they don't have any vision in their jungle, so that's very dangerous right now.
We do see Ohio Northern, they're going through clearing out what wards Marietta has placed, and they're starting up the Baron here. And if Marietta can't contest this, I would say that this Baron here is going to be the end of the game.
Yeah, doesn't look like they can get anywhere close. I mean, you got sets of super minions in the bot lane that's going to have to be answered. So the Baron does go to Ohio Northern, so they're going to have to back to their base. And I think Ohio Northern's going to catch them. And we already see Galileo going down, and Larson's going to try to get something, but he's going to get extremely low. Kale's going to finish him off for a double kill. And right now that attack speed from Kale is just doing an insane amount, and with 3 for the Pioneers down, and super minions coming into the bot lane, that may be enough to finish the game.
And this Baron buff on all these super minions as well. We see Meganar coming out here with just incredible amounts of health, and he's going to be taking down. They're going to be taking down the last of this, and here comes the ace for Ohio Northern. And that looks like it's going to be the end of match 1. We'll be going into match 2 here with Ohio Northern ahead 1-0.
All right, so give us a second here as we get that set up for you.
So with that, we're going to be going back into our next match here of Marietta versus Ohio Northern. We'll be having our next draft pick here. Be seeing what kind of changes maybe we see to some team comps, maybe some new ban choices. The biggest thing I saw with that last match we had from Marietta is that they went with this very AoE team comp method there, but they weren't able to really execute it. They weren't able to utilize it. A lot of matches were, or a lot of the fights were, getting caught out. Maybe a 2v3, something that wasn't really in their favor, and all of their synergy they would have in ulti in like a big team battle wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest mistakes that you kind of mentioned is just getting caught off and getting caught out in the mid game, and then just not being able to reestablish the vision. I think I noticed that a lot of them were using, I think it's the Oracle lens. I think is what it's called.
The red,
the blue. Crap, what's it called? Can't remember.
The one that lets you view a spot over here. Yeah, I think it's the Oracle lens.
Yeah, so a lot of them are using the Oracle lenses and not the ward trinkets. So none of them really had any trinkets to put stuff down.
They didn't have actual wards they were placing. They were able to scan an area for a second, but then they didn't have those wards lasting was a lot of the issues, which you're looking at, right? So just having those wards, having that vision so that they're not getting caught out. Because there were several times Galileo was able to get caught out alone in the jungle, or trying to come back to lane in a location where he just got picked off. And Ohio Northern, a lot of what we saw too, while they were taking those Barons, they would put 2 or 3 on Baron, but then they had Gnar top lane, and they had someone else mid lane, and those people were hoping to keep them pushed back. Gnar had such crazy amounts of health. He was able to do good damage, stuns, so he was able to slow down and keep a lot of Marietta from being able to push into that Baron area, and allowed, I think it was either Kai'Sa or Kale, along with Zach, to be able to just take that Baron by themselves.
Yeah, and now we see why they picked the Gnar into the cannon.
Yeah, just that tankiness. He was able to take he was able to just chase down Kennen under towers, especially later on in the game too. I mean, he had a lot more gold than he did at that point, but it was 20 minutes in the game before Gnar's first death.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to maybe look at that? Do they think they can handle that NAR? Is that maybe something they want to ban? Are they going to look at an entirely different type of team comp instead of what Marietta had that time? Because the team battles just weren't happening the way they would need them to.
All right, so we're still getting things set up for game 2, but yeah, we'll have to see what kind of adjustments are going to be made. I mean, I don't know if Marietta would try to go for the same comp because it didn't quite. I mean, it was a good composition in theory. It just, I think Ohio Northern took the early game, just being the NAR being so far in the lead in the top lane in the early game, that gave him the advantage over Kennen. The early kills in the bot lane.
I mean, the first blood helped Ohio Northern, but Marietta was able to come back with those bot lane kills and come ahead in the gold lead. But Kennen fell so far behind that NAR was able to just gather up so much health, and that was what was really, I think, holding back a lot of the team battles that they were having. Yeah. And it wasn't that they were grouped up in team battles. You'd have NAR by himself holding back 2-3 members of the team, while they're able to pick off some of the other members of Marietta too.
Yeah, so. And it gave Nautilus and Zach time to become more tanky, to be more difficult. I mean, the Zach itself was a problem, so that might be a possible ban. It's because every time they try to finish him off, his passive would kick in, and they didn't really actually kill him. And whenever they tried to finish him off,
they're wasting that damage trying to actually kill him because of him pulling back together. And meanwhile, their whole team is melting because of the Kale or the Kaiser who are doing the damage that they're not able to focus on. It was a tricky situation. You also had the Nautilus, the Zach, able to displace members of the team or really cover their ADC, their mid lane, and make sure that their carries aren't getting jumped on. And they're also so tanky. So, like, how do you focus them to be able to take out the CC that you're not able to get to the carry, or do you just stay on the carry and you just keep getting CC'd, So they had some issues there of being able to jump on those carries because of those tankier CC options.
Yeah, it's just kind of like pick your poison, right? So either try to focus on the carries and get CC'd, or focus on CC'd and
you get destroyed by the carries. So it was a little difficult. Maybe if the team battles could have had a 5v5 moment there, and they could really have jumped on, and the Galio, the Kennen, getting that Kennen in there to be able to try to stun the whole team. The more stuns they could have gotten out there from Kennen, trapping them into their groups, displacing them with Oriana's ult. If that could have come together a little bit better, maybe it could have came out a little different. But when you have members of the team getting picked off because they got displaced and they're out on their own, you're not getting those team battles you need.
Yeah, so for that reason, I would not expect the Kennen in this next game, because I don't think it worked the way that they were hoping for the Kennen to work. There's a couple times when he got his ult out, it maybe caught 1-2 people at most, but there was never really a time where everyone was grouped up and he'll just pop that Kennen ult with a 5-person stun. So I would not expect that in this. So we're still trying to...
Maybe some better choices than that kind of option there would have been maybe a Vlad with his ulti being able to increase the damage and everything that they're doing to the enemy team. Or, maybe there's some other choices they could have complemented the team they wanted rather than using the Kennen, but we'll see what they do, or if they even go for that type of team comp, or if they go for maybe more of a laning comp, or what they want to change up here.
All right, so we're getting the lobby set up, and Ohio Northern will be picking red side. So I think they like the fact that they were able to get the chance for a couple of those counter picks like they did in game 1. So we'll see.
So choosing red side again for this one?
Well, in the game 1, we were the home team, so we got to choose the side. So Marietta chose blue side, and then game 2. Ohio Northern gets to decide, so they choose red side.
So we'll be seeing Marietta with the first pick and bans here once we get into the draft pick again.
Yes, I think they're just trying to
getting the last few people into the lobby and everything here. Once we have all that set up, we'll be able to start up the actual bans and picks and everything. In the meantime, next week, do you know who is the schedule for college for next week? We're going to be having more Rocket League, more League of Legends, more Overwatch,
yes.
right?
Let me get that. In fact, what I'm going to do while we are waiting here, I'm just going to pull up the actual schedule. I normally would put this up during the actual schedule here. So we'll go ahead and transition over there so you can actually see the upcoming schedule for the remainder of this semester. So next week, and actually it's a good thing you asked this. So next Saturday, our Rocket League team will be going up against Northwood. So that will be Saturday at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Now, there is a schedule change for the match with Lords.
Okay.
So that's going to actually be on Sunday.
Gotcha.
So I'll have to double check with Lord's coach. He may actually be watching right now. So if you're watching, hello.
So we'll be seeing Northwood on Saturday at 9 a.m. like normal, but
that's
then
normal.
That's all we'll have on Saturday, and then Sunday we'll be picking up the Overwatch and the League of Legends?
Correct. So League of Legends will actually be first. So I believe League of Legends will be at 2 p.m. and Overwatch will probably be around 4 p.m. So whenever League of Legends is over, but we'll finalize that and we will get that to our Facebook and Twitter page so that way everyone knows. So one more reason to make sure that if you haven't followed us on Facebook or Twitter to do so, that way you know exactly when this match is going to be. So while we are getting that up, so next week's Northwood, and that's following Sunday be Lords, and then that following Saturday we'll be playing against Tiffin. And then November 9th, we have Northwood down, but that is just for Overwatch.
Okay.
So that's a bye week for Rocket League and League of Legends. And then on November 16th will be the last match for this semester with all three teams going against Aquinas. Now, there is no conference championship in the fall semester,
okay,
but that will be in the spring. So we'll have so this is essentially a fall split, and then there'll be a spring split for the games, and then there will be a conference championship tournament playoff thing. We're still working out the details for that.
Okay, very well. Now, on November 2nd against Tiffin, that's going to be the same day that there's also going to be the open house going on, right?
Right. So, we'll still have the matches going on. So those that are here for the open house, we'll try to find a way so they can actually watch the matches going on, but there's still going to be some tours and other sessions going on, but we'll try to have that available so people can watch. And then after the open house, then they can come by the tryout to see if they can be a part of the team next year and possibly have an opportunity for scholarships.
Okay. So that we would take a look at the facilities, try out for now. What all can they try out for? What all do you guys have on the line there?
Any of the games that we have. So League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, Rainbow Six, Fortnite,
PUBG,
NBA
is that in there as well?
We do have a PUBG team. I think we're starting to get things ready for the pick and ban. So let me get that up since that could be at any time now. So yeah, I'm checking the lobby here. So everyone's been invited.
There's gonna be lots of stuff coming on. There's also, besides those, we also have Rainbow Six on Friday, right?
Right. Yeah. So they are participating in collegiate R6. So that's the default time is Fridays, but the teams are actually allowed to discuss with each other ahead of time if they want to have it on Friday or if they want to have it on a different day or a different time.
Okay.
Like we've had some weeks where the match was at 8:30, like the default time. A couple weeks, like last week, we had our match at 9 o'clock instead. So it's another one of those. We'll know who our opponent is on Sunday. And then once we know the time, we'll get that out to everyone.
Okay.
So it may be next Friday. It may be earlier in the week. It may be later in the week. So once again, one more reason to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. So that way, when we announce when the actual time is, you're aware of it.
Any schedule changes coming down the pipeline or anything like that, it pops up on Twitter, Facebook, you can find out, and then make sure you tune in here. Also, usually whenever we go live here, you'll get a notification as long as you follow and have notifications on, so you can see, hey, going live, and here's what's coming.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes esports matches a little bit trickier compared to like traditional NCAA matches, because like with typical NCAA sports, you have your fixed times and that is when you're supposed to play. These are under the rules by the conference you're in and so forth. But for esports matches, at least a lot of it, there's still not a whole lot of regulation. Now, with these different conferences, like with the Great Lakes Esports Conference, we are trying to have that consistent schedule, but even sometimes then things have to be changed. So like our match with Defiance and Rocket League had to be pushed earlier a couple of days because of some issues. We were having to reschedule our matches with Lords, and so those things happen, and that's fine. But everyone just has to understand that these schedules are more fluid than what you would expect with a football or a basketball schedule. But I mean, you have to consider, like, even for baseball or softball, there are a lot of times those games get rescheduled because of rain delays. Like, you can't play when it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes things get rescheduled for esports.
Okay. All right. So as far as where we are right now, it looks like we have the lobby created. Everyone's getting into the draft pick here to choose their champions, get the bands going on and everything. So once we have the last people that we're missing here into here, we'll be seeing Marietta choosing off their first bands. And then we'll also see the first pick of Marietta, which is going to be giving a lead for counter picks towards Ohio Northern a little bit. But we'll kind of see what we end up with here. And hopefully Marietta can kind of come out on top and not... Hopefully they don't lose here in the champ select by getting counterpicked.
Yeah, you don't want that. I mean, games have been won and lost because of champ select, so we don't want to see that happen here. We do see the phase starting up, so we'll see what and they actually go with the Jarvan first and banning out, and then followed by the Leona ban.
Now we did see a Nocturne last time, so I don't know if we'll see Ohio Northern going with like a Nocturne jungler, but that's another one kind of similar to Zach that really has that jump on capability coming out of the jungle to really come in and take people out.
Unless Marietta first picks it.
That's true.
That might be one of the reasons they're doing the Jarvan ban. They may anticipate doing the Nocturne pick, or so that way they can get that right away. That's why they're not banning it. And we see the Quinn and Kled being banned out. So those are the same bans from the last game. But now we'll see if Marietta's going to make any other adjustments. So it's interesting that they ban out the Jarvan, but not seeing them ban the Zac or the Gnar. So maybe their comp is not going to... They don't have to worry about those champions for whatever comp they're using. Okay, we do see the Zac being banned out, and Ohio Northern sticking with the same ban with Syndra.
I'm curious if we'll see a Nocturne pick, and we do see a Nocturne pick. So it looks like the jungle from Ohio Northern really likes those ones that can, like, they jungle and then they really jump in there out of nowhere and take you out. So having the Jarvan and the Zac both banned and taking the Nocturne, we'll see how Nox is able to handle Nocturne and really utilize him to kind of turn the tide of this series.
All right, and then we do see the Kale coming out. And they're going with the Hecarim to counter it. Now, the thing with that Kale is we saw it in the mid lane last time, but who's to say that that could end up being a top Kale? In fact, I'm wondering if the last game they anticipate that being the top, so maybe they try to have the Kennen counter pick the Kale, but ended up finding out that that's actually a mid Kale.
They're going to go for Gnar, and that their Gnar they feel can counter the Kennen. So if you pick this Kale out first and you're not sure where it's going to go and they swap it on him, it really kind of messes with the choices Marietta may be trying to choose here.
Right, so we do see the Shen for... It should be a top Shen.
Most likely a top lane. I've seen a Shen support, but not too often.
I have. It's just not lately. I wouldn't expect it to be a Shen support, but I wouldn't throw it out. But
no, but tossing in some of those picks there where people, if they can get Ohio Northern thinking that, oh, well, this is where this person is going to be going, and you swap it on them, I mean, they can have some of those tricks that they had last game with the Kale that Ohio Northern did.
Now we see that Marietta did not ban out the Caitlyn this time, so that did allow Ohio Northern to pick that to the counter the Jinx. We see the Lissandra being banned out again from Ohio Northern, and the Gangplank gets banned out for Marietta. So they are anticipating that Kale to be a mid Kale.
Yeah, I was going to say that pick has to be a counter option with that Gangplank pick, because we didn't see it last time. I didn't have a feeling that we were going to have a Gangplank picked unless they're looking at someone to be picked by Marietta and then be countered by Ohio Northern.
All right, so Marietta's bank on the fact that this is going to be a mid Kale, but if it ends up being a top Kale, then Marietta's got to be very careful with their composition here, because if they're banking on trying to counter pick a Kale at top, but ends up being banking on being a mid Kale and being top, so
right now we're looking to see what Marietta picks for the last two, but we still have Ohio Northern being able to pick one more. So the question is, when Ohio Northern picks their last champion, are we going to be seeing a top laner, or are we going to be seeing a mid laner to know exactly what they're going to be doing with this Kale?
Right, and it looks like they're hovering over the Morgana
as a support character.
That should be a support. I think I've seen once a Morgana mid. It did not work out well. So I don't think it's a mid Morgana.
I don't see Morgana's mid as much anymore. It used to be back earlier days, like Morgana was a mid laner, and you saw a lot of that.
It's like season 1, season 2. That was a long time ago, especially since Riot just did their 10-year special earlier this week and announcing all those different games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's going to be, and it looks like maybe hovering over the LeBlanc.
So we have a LeBlanc pick here for mid lane from Marietta. So we're looking at a jungle Nocturne, top lane Shen, Jinx and Morgana in the bot lane, and LeBlanc in the mid lane. And what are we going to have from Ohio Northern as our final pick? Is it going to be something to counter a LeBlanc or something to counter a Shen?
We'll find out. Is the
I would say they're not quite as tanky this time as they were last time for Ohio Northern right now, but it really depends on what they go with here. And they get a Camille.
so they were so that should be a Camille top. I think I don't know. Have you seen Camille mid?
I mean, yes and no. I would say most likely you're probably gonna get a Kale in the mid lane.
Yeah, I would. I've seen Camille in the. I would expect that to be a top Camille, but don't know for sure. And we are getting the ready checks in to actually start the game. So even with this, like I don't think I've seen Camille mid. So that has to be a Kale mid.
I think most likely we'll see what we have when we get into the game here, but I'm gonna assume that's where they're going. But that's the thing too. I mean, maybe they just swap it and they're like, well, I think that my Camille can take the LeBlanc. I'm not worried about it. They just swap it. So we'll see where they go with this here. I would say though, Ohio Northern last time they had the Gnar, which was really tanky. They had the Nautilus and the Zac both that were able to absorb a lot of damage. They still have Nautilus this time. Hecarim, depending on how they go, can be kind of tanky-ish, but not as much as they had last time.
The thing with the Hecarim is they're going for more engage, especially in the jungle. And I wonder if they're going to try to capitalize on the fact that Marietta got caught out a lot in the last game. So can they use the Hecarim to try to catch him out even more? You top that with like a Camille ult that just traps him in place, and that might be their win condition of what they're trying to be going for. But yeah, they don't have as many tanks, but I think they're going to be going for more engage with their composition. Meanwhile, with Marietta, I think they're trying to go with a more global presence. Because you have the Nocturne that can just jump around the map. Shen's got his ult, and I'm going to guess that is going to go with teleport as well.
Yeah.
So Shen's going to have multiple ways to get around the field. So I think they're going to try to have that global presence where, okay, Shen's ult and Shen Nocturne are way up here, but even so, that does not mean you can safely push in a completely different lane.
Yeah, you can have both of those guys coming out of nowhere when you think that you're safe and really changing the turn of a battle.
And now we can say that we have Camille confirmed top. It is not a mid Camille. So Kale is definitely a mid. So Marietta did anticipate that. So we'll see how they set up their picks to handle that. So that means that Larson did pick LeBlanc, planning to counter the Kale. So
which would be good because mid lane for Orianna versus Kale last game was fairly even for the most part. What really turned the tide, I think, was some of those some of the Gnar and Zac invades coming into the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean,
and kind of messing with it.
Yeah, the mid matchup was fine. Yeah, it's just that the other lanes were getting ahead, so there wasn't much that Larson can do. I mean, Larson's an incredible player, but he's not going to be able to carry a team by himself. So it's going to be up to Crestman and Brimstone to make sure that they can
hold their own lane.
So even if they don't, if it's not a winning matchup, so like right now, Jinx up Caitlyn's going to have the advantage. So Brimstone just needs to make sure that he holds the line. He doesn't have to win the lane. It's just as long as he stays even, or even just slightly behind. As long as he doesn't get too far behind, then there's still that fighting chance. I mean, the challenge is always, what do you do when you're playing a losing matchup? And what most people say is just don't give away free kills, keep up on your farm, and
don't overextend.
Don't overextend. Don't get caught out.
So which I think we may need to see a little bit. MC Cowboy got caught a lot as Galio last time. He gave away first blood by not respecting that the grab from Nautilus.
Yeah,
so maybe seeing a little bit more from that. Perhaps the shield that they have for Morgana will be able to help counter a few things with that. But I don't know that that overextending element is what they really need to watch out for, I think.
I wonder if the Galio, Galio can be a very tanky champion, that maybe it was just a little overconfident with the Galio, be able to, it's like, hey, I'm Galio, I'm big and beefy, I can go and put stuff out. That might have possibly been a little overconfident with it, but with Morgana being a lot squishier, I don't think we're going to see that overextension, because if you overextend as a Morgana, you're going to pop. And
you also have a little bit more range with Morgana, so you can kind of keep back a bit more. Where Galio, his main basic attack is going to be that punch, right? So you got to get in there if you want to do anything, or you're throwing that wind, the wind thing. So, hopefully we'll see that back a bit more. I I think the Morgana shield can cancel the grab, right? Is that how that?
Yeah, it's a...
The traps from Caitlyn, it can cancel out.
I mean, it works for the... I know it works for the Thresh hook. That's why Morgana's a really good counter to the Thresh. So I would expect it to be able to do the same thing for the Nautilus hook. Yes. So Morgana's a really good pick into Nautilus.
So if he can stay in between Jinx and make sure that he counters that hook, if he can take out maybe traps from Caitlyn when she's trying to lay down her traps and stuff, we may see some helpful moments from Morgana that way. All right. And then also that ulti from Morgana is maybe a very important aspect of like getting in there, being able to stun, and really turn the tide of a big team battle.
Yeah, so I do like the composition that Marietta has. So we'll have to see if can he utilize the black shields, can he utilize the binds and comboing up the pools, trying to trap someone out,
getting that extra damage done to whether it's Caitlyn or Nautilus, and having to make them withdraw.
Now we do see quite a few new people joining us, so thank you. So you are watching Marietta College Esports. This is a best of 3 series with Marietta College versus Ohio Northern University. So right now we are just kind of waiting for game 2 to start. So while we are waiting, if you haven't been following us yet on social media, please be sure to join us. Our Twitter is Marietta Esports, Facebook at Marietta College Esports. You can watch all of our matches on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/Marietta College Esports. You can also follow our Twitch channel here, so that way whenever we go live, you can check out those matches. And if you want to help us out by subscribing, we would definitely welcome that support. So any support that you provide will help us with equipment, jerseys, supplies, staffing, and we're already starting to see some of the benefits with your help with being able to start offering scholarships for the fall class of 2020 for next year. So we do thank you for all of that. And I feel like there's something else I meant. Okay, I was going to say something.
One more thing.
Forgot.
Okay.
So just as a reminder that if you don't want to pay $5 to subscribe, there is Twitch Prime.
Twitch Prime, yeah.
Which gives a lot of nice perks, a lot of in-game loot. For those that play Rainbow Six, I think they've released like some kind of Twitch Prime skin for that not too long ago. And if you don't have Twitch Prime, but if you have Amazon Prime, you already have Twitch Prime. It's free. All you have to do is create a free Twitch account, link it to your Amazon, and there you go. You get that free Twitch Prime account. You get that free sub that you can use every month for whoever you want to use.
Yep. You can get those extra emotes and stuff too, which we have the Pioneer Smile, right?
Yep. And we have another one ready to go. So with a little extra support, we'll be able to provide that to you. So we want our community to be able to cheer on the Pioneers, whether we have the glorious wins, and even in those very tough losses, your support just helps the program, helps the players, helps the staff. So we do thank you for all of that. All right, so we should be...
So we have our countdown finished. We're going to be loading into the match here and seeing our teams prepare, probably get around that river, make sure they watch out for invades. I'm not expecting an invade this time either. I know that Ohio Northern managed to pull in a pretty good win the last match, but even still, in the very beginning of the game, it was very close and back and forth. Marietta, even though First Blood went to Ohio Northern, Marietta pulled back into the lead for a little bit and then lost it slowly over the course of the game. So I don't feel like this is a one-sided match between Ohio Northern or Marietta. So I'm looking to see, like, they need to watch out, make sure they have good plays, make sure they don't get picked off, make sure they get those wards placed and get that vision placed. And I could see this match going to either one.
Yeah, I mean, it's legal in a one. Just got to make sure that you're not making the mistakes. The team that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win the game. So we are in game 2 for Marietta College versus Ohio Northern. And as you predicted, we're not seeing any invades from either side.
We have Caitlyn pushing up a little further than I expected, but besides that, nothing else unexpected here right now. So we'll be seeing them return to their lane, start their laning phase here soon, move into their jungle rotation, and then we'll see what Nocturne and Hecarim can do as far as for their teams and what ganks we see happening first.
Right. Yeah, the thing with Nocturne is he can get some early gank attempts, but he's really not going to be able to do a whole lot until that level 6 kicks in, where that you can do that darkness and just jump from across one side of the map to the other. We do see Marietta's going to be starting with their red buff, and I'm not sure where Ohio Northern is going to start. Heckram is kind of over at the Raptors.
And it looks like he will be going for the Raptors. Meanwhile, while Nocturne is getting this red buff here, and then we're going to be seeing laning phase start here for everybody. We will be seeing the LeBlanc against the Kale mid again. Camille is top lane against Shen. Yeah, so we'll see how these two matchups specifically go. We have a very similar matchup down below where we have a... this time we have Caitlyn, who... we'll see if the Jinx can handle Caitlyn, since they didn't get a counter or a ban pick on Caitlyn.
I think it's not a... Okay, so I found it very interesting that Heckram went for the Raptors early, and I think I know why he did it. So Caitlyn and Nautilus went up to the blue buff. They didn't do anything, but they just kind of went up. And I think they were trying to make Marietta think. Actually, let's see what's going on here in the top lane right here. Because we're seeing that early game.
Heckram jumping in quick at level 2. So if you have them pushing, so what you're looking at is maybe a bluff coming in from the Ohio Northern,
exactly.
Where like you see the bot lane or have already pulled in the jungle, so they're getting blue buff Heckram's bot lane, and meanwhile he's actually top lane on his own, sneaking in trying to get an early gank on top lane.
Getting that early trick just so they can think, okay, Heckram's in the blue side jungle, we're fine, I can push up, but no, he was already there, ready to get the gank and get the flash out of Shen. So deceitful of a high.
It is very good. It was maybe a deceitful play there,
but it's a legitimate. I mean, there's no rule that says you can't do that.
No, there is not. We do see Shen building back up his sustain a little bit here, but going on this Camille, it's a fairly even trade off there. Now we do have more health pots though still left for Camille, so she's probably going to be able to come out there. But Nocturne coming in on Camille. Getting a few hits on, and Camille's dropping very low. Nocturne pushes in a little bit, but he's going to pull back out. He doesn't want to dive that tower just yet. He's not too tanky.
So he was able to push away. Now, one thing that does cause a small issue for Heckram is that because he tried to do that early gank and not getting like the blue buff early on, I think he's a little bit behind in farm, although Nocturne was the gank attempt there, so maybe the experience is even out a little bit. But I did notice that Nocturne was a little bit ahead in the XP because of that.
We see LeBlanc going in on Kale here, doing... we have Heckram though coming in behind LeBlanc. LeBlanc does get the first blood, but I don't think LeBlanc... No, LeBlanc did not get away from Heckram there.
He flashed forward for the first blood, and he didn't see the Heckram from behind. So it was a 1v1 trade, but the first blood gold does go to Larson for that. So that will help. So, I mean... You don't want to
trade off there is at least in Marietta's favor.
Yeah, at least he got the kill before he got killed. And if Larson can get the gold going and get really scary, then that's going to be very advantageous. We see the Ignite going out into Jinx getting extremely low. We're talking like less than 70 health there. And actually had to burn the flash and the heal to get away.
It was a grab from Nautilus. Morgana was able to kind of get in front, kind of stop Caitlyn from being able to get those hits off.
You see Shen getting pretty low, although he gets the solo kill onto Camille. So a good start there for Shen, so you know he had to burn his flash early.
The other thing mid lane too is we did get LeBlanc with the first blood against Kale, so that's giving a lead of LeBlanc over Kale. Heckram was the one who got the gold on the kill there, but there is that assist gold that Kale was able to get. So there's a little bit more gold advantage going to LeBlanc mid lane. But right now you have Morgana trying to hold this bot lane on her own while Jinx gets back. She does have that pull to be able to help get rid of that minion wave, but we see Nocturne pushing down bot lane a little bit too. We may see with this overextension from Ohio Northern, maybe Nocturne jumps in here on this Caitlyn.
Yeah, we see the pings actually coming out here because right now Caitlyn is ahead by a good amount of CS 5.5 minutes into this game. So they're going to have to do something to disrupt the Caitlyn, otherwise she's going to be a problem when we get to the late game. Although we see Nocturne backing out, and even Morgana's going to go back out and reset. But
yeah, Nautilus has a lot. Caitlyn's still looking pretty healthy, so going in there with that weaker Morgana who's trying to hold that lane on her own may not be the best choice.
Right, but the thing that's going to be a little risky now is the fact that Jinx is by herself and doesn't have a whole lot of mobility, so if Jinx gets caught out, he's dead. So he's going to have to kind of hover over the tower, let the bot lane push, and then farm up.
So the things Jinx needs to look at, number one is staying around tower to make sure they're safer, but keep Nautilus, make sure there's minions between you and Nautilus. Make sure you have some kind of barrier so you can't just get grabbed, but don't push too far because when Nautilus makes that advance, you're not going to have that shield wall of minions anymore. So
you see Larson getting a lot of damage onto Kale, gets down to less than under a quarter, but will get away.
That's going to leave Kale in a sticky situation, possibly losing a little bit of XP, losing a little bit of gold here, as LeBlanc's able to push this mid lane.
We do see Hecarim getting the Scuttlecraft from the bot lane, and just trying to counter jungle Nocturne.
Hecarim back in the Marietta jungle though, getting a ward placed on red buff. Morgana coming back a bit, but Jinx up all alone. Meanwhile, Nautilus and
there's the darkness going right onto Camille, and Camille will fall for it. Meanwhile, Ohio Northern does go for the Cloud Drake, and this should be a free Drake for them, knowing that Nocturne is in the top lane.
And Jinx and Morgana staying down bot lane, not wanting to take a 2v3 fight here with Caitlyn, Nautilus, and Hecarim.
Yeah, so Ohio Northern does take the Cloud Drake, but if you're going to give up a Drake, Cloud Drake isn't as bad, although I say that knowing that Cloud Drake on Hecarim can be a problem.
Gotcha. Now, there is a ward sitting here at Marietta's red, and Hecarim is currently sitting there as well, waiting for Nocturne, knowing that red buff is up. And we're going to see a counter jungle here. Possibly not.
No, I couldn't tell if he stole the... I mean, he has a red buff. I don't know if he stole it from...
He may have been waiting
I think he stole it. No, actually, I do see the swords around Nocturne. Is that particular skin, it's really hard to see their blue-red buffs.
I think that Nocturne came in there for that, and we had Hecarim do a smite steal, taking that red buff away from Nocturne.
Yeah, so it looks like... Yeah. We see the fight a little bit in the mid lane. Kale's getting pretty low on health, but Larson's not going to be able to finish it off just yet.
Yeah, meanwhile, Nocturne's gone up to his blue buff. Hecarim just took his own red buff. But it looks like he may be going over here trying to gank top lane, or at least get some vision around Rift Herald here. We see a little bit of dancing around here and around the river of between top and mid here.
So we see Nocturne backing out just to get some more things. Hecarim's going to go over to his Gromps to just try to get a little bit more gold. Meanwhile, we see that the bot lane can push pretty hard. Caitlyn's ahead by almost 20 CS, and that's gonna give Caitlyn a huge advantage later on. So Marietta needs to do something here in the bot lane. We see Nocturne kind of coming from behind. His ult is up, so they may be looking at a potential gank in the bot lane. But he's going to get spotted out with that ward.
Yeah, Ohio Northern making sure they keep some wards around that tri-bush. They keep on pushing into the Marietta jungle. Either Hecarim or Nautilus keeps coming in there behind that dragon pit. Trying to make sure they have some vision. They're trying to counter off this Nocturne, making sure he's not getting what he needs. They're trying to make sure this bot lane stays behind. Meanwhile, Hecarim's sitting there in the mid lane, or in the river right now. LeBlanc's coming down towards Hecarim, but I don't know if she knows that Hecarim is down that way.
Yeah, the thing is, they don't have any vision in that river, so it would be very dangerous for LeBlanc to go down by himself to try to help, because Hecarim will be right there to cut her off.
Ohio Northern sees Nocturne. Kale's going to be backing away, but bot lane's still pushed a good bit, but the Hecarim's staying down here, making sure that he has some cover. Meanwhile, we see Shen going on Camille here a bit. It's going to be a little bit of a trade-off here, but it doesn't look like it's going to amount to any kills for either side for the top lane. But we do see Nocturne pushing up into the top jungle.
I think he's just clearing stuff. It doesn't look like it's going to be a gank opportunity, but Camille's actually getting pretty low, but Shen's at about health as well.
We have Hecarim coming up to the top lane as well. Nocturne's down here as well, so we may be seeing a double gank maybe, especially if Nocturne has his ulti ready. Camille's going in.
There is no vision. We see Hecarim coming in. The Camille ult comes in, and so is the Hecarim ult. And the Darkness is going to come in to try to help, but Shen does go down. But will Nocturne be able to get the Camille? And I think he will with the help with the tower, so it is a 1-for-1 trade. And the Jinx Rocket comes in to try to help, but just a little too late on that. But it was a 1-for-1 trade, and everyone burned their ults except for Shen. Shen did not. Well, of course, Shen's not going to burn his ult for that. But
we do have several ultis down. We have Nocturnes, Hecarim's, and Camille's all down. We see some action going down on the bot lane here. A root going on the Nautilus and some extra damage on him.
And actually, the Shen ult gets burned here. The teleport down to help against the Nautilus because he did pop his ult to try to lock down the Morgana. And now we're going to see a gank attempt in the mid lane for Nocturne and LeBlanc.
You see LeBlanc going in, throwing her chain down, getting a stun on Kale here. Nocturne, meanwhile, trying to come in, get a little extra damage there, but not able to secure any kills in the mid lane. We have no kills mid nor bot lane, but we do see Hecarim coming down into the bottom river. Which direction is he going to be going here? They do have vision there in the river.
No, he's going to get spotted out. They did ping him out, so they know exactly where he's at. And we already see a lot of damage getting put onto Kale.
You see the Morgana ult coming out too, only hitting Nautilus, not even able to get a stun on Nautilus. Nautilus low on mana as well. And we do see Hecarim in the tri-bush right now, so he did get spotted out. Nocturne's kind of coming down a little bit to maybe aid, but looks like there may be a little action here with the Drake being up as well.
All right, Cloud Drake is up, so they might be trying to eye that, but bot lane for Caitlyn was trying to back away.
Caitlyn was a little low. There was a rocket sent her way, interrupting her backing. It did hit, but not enough damage on Caitlyn. We do see Nautilus and Hecarim circling around Cloud Drake. Getting vision, clearing vision.
So it looks like Ohio Northern will be going for the next Cloud Drake. And there's still a lot of training going here in the top lane. Camille's getting very low. It doesn't look like Cressman is going to follow through with it. He doesn't really have any vision there, so he doesn't
know where the rest of their team is right now. So
he should know that Hecarim is down with the Cloud Drake, so he should be able to safely push, but so is not to.
So there's a second Cloud Drake going for Ohio Northern. So it's going to be 2 Cloud Drakes onto that Hecarim.
Yeah, that's going to make a difference for Hecarim, because it's just going to make it a lot easier for him to charge in for his ults and for his gank attempts. Because usually a Hecarim would go for like the mobility boots for the extra out of combat speed, but with the double Cloud Drake buff, he might not even need that anymore. That he might be able to go with something else for his upgraded boots, or maybe he'll just go for more mobility, but even faster.
Okay. Just even get in there even quicker, get out even faster.
That's why, especially that's why you don't actually need him to get a flash. You never see a Hecarim actually take flash, just because he has so much mobility with his ult.
Because he's so fast, he can get out of there so quickly. We do see some action going on over here at Rift Herald, Nocturne, and Shen working on it, but we do see some battles going mid lane. They're jumping on the Hecarim.
Yeah, Darkness goes on there, so they're going to try to get him down.
We see Nocturne staying on the Hecarim, Hecarim using his ulti to get away, but Rift Herald does go to Marietta there.
It hasn't, not yet.
Oh no, they didn't even get to finish it. Looks like Kale came in from the mid lane, along with the help of Camille, and made sure that Rift Herald stays untaken.
Yeah, Marietta does have complete vision control over the Rift Herald, but I don't think they're ready to go for it yet. And both Jinx and Morgana are very low. They're going to have to back away, and that's going to give Ohio Northern's bot lane a chance to push. We see Camille popping the ult in the mid lane, but the block will just finish off. But here comes Hecarim that will get the trade.
So far, I think every kill LeBlanc's able to secure, Hecarim is right there, able to secure his own against LeBlanc.
Yeah, in fact, Hecarim's 2 kills are, I believe, on LeBlanc.
Yeah, the very first one at the first blood, and then that one there as well. So, LeBlanc's able to take those one-on-one trades pretty well, but always leaves her a little low.
Yeah, the thing is, we're about almost 15 and a half minutes into the game, and even though Marietta has more kills, Ohio Northern is actually up by about 2.5k gold, and a lot of that is to do with the CS difference.
We've had more CS on Ohio Northern's side. There's the 2 Cloud Drakes that didn't help. There's also 1 tower gone already in the bot lane for Marietta, so all of that adding up here, and then the Rift Herald on top of that.
Yeah, so Nox tried to get the Baron Rift, the Rift Herald steal, but did not quite get it. And Marietta does get punished for it. Both Shen and Nox go down. Blanc is trying to get something here, but just a little bit of poke damage onto Nautilus, but that's not going to be enough to really do anything.
And we do see Hecarim going up to the top lane here, releasing this Rift Herald with Hecarim, Rift Herald, and Caitlyn. They're going to be pushing that. Meanwhile, Marietta's pushing mid lane against Kale and Nautilus, but I don't think they're going to be able to get anything out of that, and someone's going to have to make sure they contest this Rift Herald.
Yeah, but no one's going to be in there in time. So the first turret, actually their second turret, because bot lane was able to get the first turret down in the bot lane, so now they're with 2 turrets down. So Larson will try to get something onto Caitlyn, but Hecarim is there to finish him off. He just is always around whenever Larson, trying to make a play.
You see the darkness coming out here on the Caitlyn. He's able to get a shutdown on Caitlyn. Hecarim, meanwhile, is trying to escape here, and Rift Herald is still wreaking havoc on the second tier top lane tower right now. Bot lane still battle out between Shen and Camille, trying to defend this tier 2 tower from Camille, who was just taking it freely for a little bit. Looks like Nocturne's able to save that tier 2 top lane tower. Shen chasing after this Camille. He has a little bit of vision in the jungle, so he knows he's kind of safe, but he doesn't see what's in the river, which we see Nautilus coming down, but a little too late. And Shen's going to take that kill on Camille.
And he will pop the flash to get that kill. His teleport is still up, so while he is split pushing down here, he could teleport anytime whenever they need him.
Now, if you take a minute here to look at the map, we see a lot of red around Rift Herald, some in the top of Marietta's jungle, even a red ward down in the bottom of Marietta's jungle. While we look for blue wards, we only see 2 and 1 that just got placed in Marietta's jungle, so they really need to get clearing out some of this vision, really try to take control of this river.
And a lot of that is just take a look at the itemization for Ohio Northern. Everyone on the team has at least 1 control ward. And if you look at Marietta's side, only Brimstone has a control ward right now. Now that might have been built from earlier, but it seems like Ohio Northern has really put emphasis on jungle vision. Now, while we say that, if we take a look, the red side jungle for Marietta is more under control. All the wards have been cleared or at least expired, and Marietta has gotten some more vision down there, and they're actually going for this Infernal Drake and does get it. And meanwhile, they jump right onto the Camille and ends up falling. So right there was a really good play by Marietta. So they got some vision control back. They got the Infernal Drake and a kill. And we even see Caitlyn
going down to LeBlanc here with a stun with a tower dive. So previously, while we were talking, Nautilus kind of got picked out and got taken out. So with a 4v5 situation, they were able to take that Drake, secure that, then come up to the mid lane and able to take out Caitlyn and Camille both. So right now we're looking at 5v3 currently and able to do a little bit of damage. And also, while they did all that, they secured their bottom jungle, making sure that either they cleared out the wards or at least now there's been time for the wards to expire.
Yeah, we do see that Ohio Northern was able to take out the outer mid tower
for mid lane there. Mm-hmm. We do have a lot of damage on the tier 2 towers for top and bottom. So as of right now, objective wise, Marietta hasn't been able to secure much of anything except for 1 Drake. So they really need to try to get pushed on a few towers here, and they need to just keep this vision and keep this control of at least their jungle, at the very least.
Yeah, so at this point, Marietta has to at least find some lane to try to get a push on to increase their map presence, because right now the map is wide open for Ohio Northern, and we see that they're already able to re-establish vision. They got several wards in the jungle, and Kale was actually able to take out the Shen, but we do see the Camille going down as well.
But then Caitlyn taking out the Morgana. So we had Shen there going in a 2v1 situation. He was fighting by himself, trying to hold those Ohio Northerners there while his team got there. And while they were able to get a kill on Camille, it was at the sacrifice of their Shen and their Morgana both. So
yeah, they seem to really be focusing on the Camille to try to just take her out of the game. But by doing so, everyone else from Ohio Northern is starting to build up. We already see for Caitlyn has the Affinity Edge and the Static Shiv. So that's going to make her a bigger threat. And they're going to have to keep shutting it down. The earlier kill that LeBlanc had on there was great, but they're going to have to continue doing that. So maybe not emphasize so much on the Camille, but start focusing more on the Caitlyn. And we see that Larson did end up getting caught out and getting extremely low. Even with the Shen ult, was not enough to keep him up.
He utilized his powers, he utilized his flash, and still wasn't able to get out of there, even with the Shen ult. So as of right now, we're looking at 5v4 right now. Ohio Northern is really kind of pushing here in the Marietta jungle, kind of looking at this mid lane tower. Meanwhile, we get a split push coming down from Camille down bot lane, possibly. The mid tier 2, or the bottom tier 2 tower is already fairly weak, so we may be seeing her trying to take out that one, get that extra gold, while Hecarim is perhaps preparing for a Baron push here, or at least getting the vision prepared to take out this Baron.
They are pinging it, so I think at the very least they're going to get some vision. 21.5 minutes in, I would not expect them to go for Baron, but
looks like they're going for it right now, and they're doing the similar play as what they did before. They're keeping Nautilus in the mid lane. Caitlyn kind of stays back there as well to make sure they're pushed back so they don't know what's going on right away. Meanwhile, you get the jungle and their mid laner pushing this Baron here.
And there is no vision there, so Marietta doesn't even know that was going on. They had no way of telling that they were all pushed up there. They were busy having to go back down their jungle and clearing vision.
I mean, you have this attack speed and everything coming out of Kayle, so she's doing a lot of damage, along with Hecarim, and also having the smite and everything too. So like they're able to duo that Baron. So Marietta looking at like, oh well, there's Nautilus, there's Caitlyn, there's Camille. They're gonna be two-manning Baron, and they do it. You know, with no vision, they don't realize what's going on over there. So they have plenty of time to be able to just take it with two people.
Well, it's not just the fact they had two people; it's because of the Kayle. Because Kale's got the Nashor's Tooth, already attack speed, it's got the Hextech Blade. I think that is Hextech Blade, right? I want to make sure I'm saying the right one. Yeah, Hextech Gunblade. It's got the Berserker Greaves, all the extra attack speed. So you got that attack speed going, as well the fact that you have her heals. I know we mentioned earlier that heals are not great, but it's enough to keep Hecarim sustained so he can keep tanking while Kale's just using her attack speed and her passive to just keep putting damage onto the Baron. Meanwhile, Caitlyn did come up at the very end to try to help finish it off. So I don't think it's necessarily the case that any two people could do it. It's just the fact that you have the Kayle that can give that extra sustain and attack speed.
True, because we saw the same thing last time with Kayle and their jungler Zac was able to two-man it while the others were keeping them held at mid and top lane.
All right, we see High Northern already getting the Mountain Drake at half health, so we might be seeing a team fight here. Kayle is able to secure the Mountain Drake for Ohio Northern, and Marionette's just going to have to back off because they weren't able to get the jump on them.
So we can see the push here, probably mid lane coming down from Ohio Northern with this Baron buff. We're already down tier 1 and tier 2 towers in the mid lane. No, tier 2 is almost down. So I expect to see tier 2 going down here in this whole fight. The question is, how much more do they push in this one here?
And tier 2 towers are already cleared in the bot and the top lanes. So all of the outer and inner towers are down for Marietta. So all that's left are the inhibitor towers and the Nexus towers. So Ohio Northern is just pushing on all fronts here, and Marietta has not found a good team fight that they need to be able to push back. They haven't had a chance to take out a single tower yet 24 minutes into the game.
Most time team fights have occurred have been at in a 4 to 5, but here we go with a 5 to 5 team fight. But we have Nocturne going down very quickly after he jumps in there, but he does take Caitlyn with him. Meanwhile, Shin goes down to Camille.
Yeah, but that Kayle is just with that attack speed, just able to do so much damage to the team while everyone's grouped up.
LeBlanc trying to get away here while Camille's trying to chase her down. But was not able to secure the kill.
And Caitlyn was the only one that fell, so that's a 4v1, and that might be enough to finish the game.
Nocturne jumped on that Caitlyn, and they burst down that Nocturne so quickly, and they were able to take out the Caitlyn, but that Kayle is where a lot of that damage was coming from. Sure, Caitlyn with her range is a tough one to jump on top of, but that attack speed and all that damage coming from Kayle, they just weren't able to handle it.
And then with that is going to finish up the game.
Yeah, that also complete the series here with Ohio Northern coming out ahead 2-0.
Yeah, so it's an unfortunate loss, but Ohio Northern is just a well put team. They had the right executions. They had a really good strategy with the vision control, just trying to keep Marion off guard of exactly what their picks are going to be, where their jungler is going to be, and that Kayle pick was able to just carry the entire team.
Yeah, and even without the Kayle aspect, they also had some of their tricky maneuvers of like trying to make sure they get those extra ganks with Hecarim kind of sneaking around by pulling their bot lane at different times. But also those picks from Nautilus being able to pull in. I think some of the hindrances, while Ohio Northern did a great job, we also saw a lot of picks from Ohio Northern because of Marietta being placed in an awkward situation.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that will do it for us. So just a couple of programming notes. So just as a reminder, so next week we will have our Rocket League match with Northwood Saturday at 9 a.m. Our Overwatch and League of Legends matches will be on Sunday. And we're still finalizing time. We believe it'll be 2 p.m. for League of Legends and probably about 4 p.m. for Overwatch, but we will get that finalized to you. So we'll double check with Lord's coach and we will get that finalized on social media. So please be sure to follow us on Twitch and Facebook for those updates. And once again, Aaron, I want to thank you for coming in and commentating.
Yeah, no problem.
So while you're here, do you want to talk a little bit about Blind Wave and what you've been doing recently?
Blind Wave, we're a YouTube channel. We've been running for about 4.5, 5 years now. We also have a Twitch channel, and currently, if you guys are enjoying Twitch and game streams, right now we have Scream Stream going on, which is different members of our crew are playing scary games. There's also jump scare sounds that you can activate using bits. So it's a lot of fun time with it being October, being able to see various scary games. There's been Soma being played, Resident Evil 2 being played, Last of Us being played, and you can find our schedule over at twitch.tv/blindwave.
Yeah, so please be sure to check that out. And earlier this week, they also released their VOD from their WaveCon earlier this year.
Which we had here in Marietta.
It was an absolute blast. Any updates, anything with the WaveCon 2020 yet?
Nothing yet as far as when we're going to be having the next WaveCon, but hopefully we'll be having some information on that coming pretty soon. It will be sometime in the summer of 2020.
All right, we're looking forward to that. So hopefully you guys will get a chance to check that out and come by to Marietta to meet these guys. They're an absolute group, a wonderful group of people. I love working with them, and they've been very supportive of our esports program. So thank you so much for all of your help.
Oh yeah, no problem. We're very, very excited to have it in our community, and it's something I enjoyed whenever I was younger, was the esports, the MLG scene, and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see it coming to a local college.
Yeah. So where was this when we were in college, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's going to be it for us today. So I already mentioned, just be sure to follow us on social media for all the latest updates. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.